ever wonder what would happen if a famous story from the ancient world played out today? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're taking one of history's most well-known events, Palm Sunday, and dropping it right into our modern world of tech, media, and politics to see what happens. Let's dive in.
So, this is the big question we're exploring. Forget everything you know about the historical setting for just a minute. Instead, picture that famous entry into Jerusalem, but with all the craziness of the 21st century. How would it actually go down?
Okay, first up, let's just imagine the sheer spectacle of it all. The source material we're looking at speculates that the arrival itself would be this massive event, something the ancient world couldn't even dream of. I mean, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? The original event was all about humility, a man on a donkey, cheered on by people from the area. But today, the author suggests it would be this high-status, flashy spectacle with private jets and a 24/7 global media circus. That original simplicity, yeah, that would be totally gone. So who would even organize this thing? Well, the source paints this picture of, frankly, complete chaos. Instead of one unified welcome, you'd have different denominations setting up their own competing committees, all jockeying for the best spot. You can just imagine the arguments over the schedule, with rich cities demanding they get first dibs. The author even has a little fun with it, rebranding it from Palm Sunday to Jet Sunday. So, the parade is over, the motorcades have driven off, the global broadcasts have wrapped up. Then what? What happens after all the confetti settles? This is where the whole thought experiment gets really interesting. And this right here is the key question the source asks. The logistics, the planning, that's one thing. But the actual substance, the whole point of the arrival, that's something else entirely. What would the aftermath really look like? Well, according to the author's take, a brand new hierarchy would pop up almost immediately. The people who planned everything, the ones who lent out their private jets, the VIPs who got invited to the exclusive meetings, they'd start seeing themselves as the new inner circle, enjoying what the source calls their earned bragging rights. Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the conflict in this whole scenario, the huge gap between what people would expect from this event and what the reality might actually be. The author suggests two main groups would probably emerge. On one side, you've got the front runners. These are the organizers, the ones expecting a pat on the back, maybe some status. And the source makes a pretty sharp point here, saying many in this group could be considered great contributors to this evil. Then, on the other side, you have the reticent, the folks who'd greet the news with a lot of fear, worrying that maybe they haven't lived up to the message. And to really drive home the danger for those front runners, the author uses this incredibly powerful metaphor. This frantic rush to be first in the welcome line, it's like running straight at the headlight of an oncoming train. It suggests that for anyone who's just expecting a reward without doing any self-reflection, this so-called glorious welcome could actually be a collision course with a really hard truth. Right, so it's important to remember that none of this modern speculation is happening in a vacuum. The source Ameda draws this really direct and powerful line back to what actually happened in the original story. So let's just do a quick recap of the original story, right? First, you have the crowd, and they are joyfully welcoming Jesus, shouting Hosanna. They're expecting a new king, someone who's going to fix their problems and serve their needs. But when those expectations weren't met exactly how they pictured, well, within just 5 days, those cheers turned into shouts of condemnation. And here's the really challenging parallel the author wants us to think about. What if our modern crowd realized that this new kingdom meant they had to give up their comfortable, accustomed way of life? Would all that praise also turn into anger? Would they scream out a modern version of crucify him? But here's the thing. This is the crucial point the author makes. History wouldn't just repeat itself. A second coming wouldn't end in crucifixion. No, this time it would be a moment of final judgment for anyone who hadn't lived according to the message. So what does this all boil down to? Well, the whole thought experiment leads to one single fundamental point, an individual choice that, according to the source, every single person has to make.
The author points out that in our current, interesting times, people are already kind of choosing between two different paths. One path is to just let go of the spiritual side of things and cling to the material world. And the other path is to really seriously start seeking a higher spiritual purpose for life.
So, what does a genuine Hosanna, a real welcome, even look like today? The source suggests it's not some loud public performance or a giant parade. It's actually a quiet internal transformation, a joyful choice to align your life with a higher spiritual purpose. It's a change that has to happen inside you, not for everyone else to see.
And why does that internal change matter so much? Because at the end of the day, society is just a reflection of the people in it. Real, lasting change doesn't just trickle down from the top. It has to grow from the bottom up, from the choices that each of us makes. And that leaves us with the author's final, really thought-provoking question. It frames a choice not as something you wait around for, but as a decision you can make right now. Do you continue on in a world of chaos, or do you take responsibility and start that work of changing yourself from the inside out? That's definitely something to think about long after this is over.